Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophia, pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue the October special edition of 3-character Chinese expressions a day. And yesterday we talked about ass kissing, and today is another way, a particular kind of ass kissing, I guess. So, okay, here, 凤求凰, I translate it as phoenix, seek, phoenix. Okay, phoenix is a legendary bird. It's kind of the king of the bird, the biggest, brightest, most colorful, most, it's like the best kind of bird out there. Like nobody ever seen it, but it's in the legendary. So in my mind, when I was reading up on what phoenix might look like, besides it also rises from the ashes, that related to fire, right? To rebirth, have this mythical quality of live again, become a better version of themselves, right? Besides that, the image comes to my mind is actually the big bird in Avatar, right? Because it ride on that bird as a airborne transport, and then the biggest one of that golden looking bird, that's more like the phoenix concept in Chinese context or the legend. Okay, you may say, what do you mean phoenix, seek phoenix? But okay, you see both of them share this big frame thing. Feng and Huang. Feng is the male phoenix. Huang is the female. Now it totally makes sense, right? Because it's part of nature. The male is supposed to seek out the female, and the female decides yes or no, right? And so this courtship, this seeking, this trying to gain favor, males developed all kinds of mechanisms, right, to display themselves, to compete with each other for the favor of the female, the right to mate, I guess. So that's what Feng Qiu Huang is. But historically, this expression came from a famous courtship story about 2,200 years ago. So it's before, it's BC, right? It's about 200 BC. Then somebody, literature guy, of course, because only literature guy in history, outstanding enough to make their name into the history book, right? And they got to write something preserved over time. And this is a famous courtship because why the guy have to try so hard to woo the woman? Because they have a big class distinction. The woman comes from outstanding, prestigious family background. The guy, basically nobody, but can write poems. And so he wrote this poem titled Feng Qiu Huang to kind of put himself on the radar of the many suitors of the girl. And he eventually succeeded. And eventually, even more down the road, abandoned her. Okay, so anyways, there are all kinds of drama in history, I guess, preserved, however much that we can see in later days. But this courtship, this famous courtship recorded by this poem titled Feng Qiu Huang, Huang preserved. Okay, let's unpack characters. Feng, you can see a made up. In contemporary Chinese, is much simpler. In traditional Chinese, we have this bird symbol underneath. That's the bird. And the top, it's kind of like big zigzag in, and then with one horizontal line in it. That, according to some scholars, is the molding structure. It's like the mold. So I would regard the horizontal line as the kind of a liquid form, fill in the mold. And then once the liquid got dried, the mold is going to broken down, right? And so that whatever the mold shaped, most likely the metal, like the metal piece cool down, kind of permanent shape, and then you have this mold removed. So the mold is the outside shape that's going to shape the metal. And so the mold was formed to shape something permanent, while the mold itself is temporary. And this mold then used as the standard. It's almost like as a bird, you're supposed to, like your ideal would look like this. So that's what fun is. In later days, it become ideal, and also the societal pressure on individuals of try to standardize you and as one of what you're supposed to be like. So that's what fun represents of all that expectation, societal and individual. And this expectation, this kind of high expectation, I guess, plus the bird symbol, which you can see is simply the bird, visual representation, which is very elegantly rendered. It got the feathers, it got the hair, right? The hair of the bird, and the little feet, claws of the bird. So this is kind of the ideal of the bird. And therefore, it became the depiction of Feng, the phoenix, only existing in the legend of kind of combination of different feature from other animals. It's like a Frankenstein of bird, have the best of outstanding features from other animals. Kind of some part looks like snake, some part looks like chicken or other types of animals molded all together, and also have a fish tail. I mean, it's legendary, so you can make up however you want. And it is said to have 5 distinctive colors, and it's going to only eat a particular kind of tree leaf, and it has a high maintenance, okay? Therefore, it becomes like this glorious color of combination of different animal features, and I guess can fly high and draw a lot of attention. And the other kinds of, minor in the pack order of birds, this is a king, and then all the other minor birds are going to follow this big phoenix bird. So that's the cultural significance of this bird, phoenix. And then this is a male version. The female version, you can see originally it didn't, this Huang, Feng Huang didn't came with this fan, this standard high expectation ideal symbol, but later on was added so that the two share the same frame to mean it's the ideal, right? It's the ultimate, the ultra or the superior, the alpha bird, okay? Then the middle here, Huang, not only act as sound maker, but also it means kind of the king of the king. In human society, this means there are 2 ways to view it. One is it means the beginning of the king, the starting point of kingship, okay? And the second version would be is higher than the king. Okay, let's unpack. There are 2 major parts. The top one means actually self-referral. It came from the nose pointing at oneself. So Chinese characters have this way of abstracting something using partial to imply the full. So here Chinese only use the nose bridge, this portion, and 2 nostrils. I mean, nostrils supposed to be this, right? And to save horizontal space, because horizontal is more expensive, so to speak. So Chinese stack them up to have 2 nostrils verticalized and then framed underneath the nose brace. That means it's the center region of the face, and use the center small region of the face to imply the whole face and frame it with this whole jawline kind of outline profile of the face. And that means the center of the face. Eventually, it means self-referral. It's kind of pointing, I guess, self-referral, so pointing at the center of your face to kind of self-targeted as this is me that I'm talking about. So it's this concept of self, right? The self-awareness captured in language as the center of your face. Okay, the bottom is Wang. 3 horizontal lines string together by vertical line, and we have to make it very clear that the vertical line ended on the top and the bottom horizontal line. No less, no more. It has to be perfectly connected like that to make it wrong. If you write it a little bit different, it's other characters. Okay, so it came from the bottom is the ground, and then the top 2 horizontal lines on the vertical line, it was said to be kind of a staff that's highly decorated, 2 horizontal lines. I mean, it's a super simplified version of a highly decorated staff. That means power. So I guess this symbol of power, kind of universal, right? In English-speaking world, also, if somebody, I mean, we're all humans. Why one small portion of humans can claim they're superior than the rest of humans? They have to come up with some story, right? Besides the narrative, they have to come up with some symbol to signify themselves, to distinguish themselves from other humans. They are no wiser, right? But they have to claim they are better than the rest of us. Therefore, they have to use some special icon. So crown, right? Crowning is one way to signify, oh, this is the king or queen, somebody special, superpower that's reign over the rest of us. Or in this case, it's not a crown, it's the staff that's highly decorated, like top-heavy staff, decorated on the top, and then with a long pole to give somebody that visual cue to the rest of the the ruled people that this is your king. You have to bow to this because I have the special staff. Therefore, I'm special than you. Anyways, okay. So this authority symbol or signifier, visual representation, eventually means the person who owns that. That means the authority, the king. And we have the self over the king. There are several ways to view it. So the self, we can view it as cultural self. It means cultural as a collective, cultural identity, self-referring itself, that at the beginning, the very beginning of the creation of this culture, occurs the original rulers, and that's the beginning of the king. Actually, in the history of China, starting from the tribes, right, just like everybody else, and then Qin Shi Huang, he used this word on himself, and therefore this word especially not created for him probably, but definitely this expression Shi Huang means the beginning king. Like he's the founding father, so to speak, as the first dynasty in a long 2,000 years of history. The 2,000, almost 3,000 years of history of dynasty of this feudal society. We classify it as feudal, but this centralized government ruling a vast piece of land, connecting different regions who may hold different dialects. And he did a lot of things as standardization, so that different regions of people kind of connected culturally, linguistically, transportationally as well, and also currency, all that, right? So there's a central government setting up, and he named himself as Huang. So it's the beginning of the king. And the legend also has it like even before him. That's setting up this political structure to rule all over China. Chinese as a culture at the beginning also has, I think it's kind of corresponding to the Western three sages. I'm not sure if actually the East and West share the same three sages. So the legend has it, the sages are people who started the culture, like the founding figures of the culture by contributing in a unique way. So one of them is, I guess, the fire maker, somebody who invented how to master the power of fire. So that's a major technological improvement. And the other one is kind of narration or story or language use that's kind of unifying this group of people. And then the other one is, of course, is agriculture, somebody who knows about a plant. So planting agriculture is technology as well. And it's kind of essential to existence of this people in this land, right? So this kind of three major forces at the beginning. And I guess legend has it to attribute it to one individual, but at the beginning, it gotta be like a collection of people that share pool knowledge that create this integrated use of technology, fire, farming, and language, right? Or framing, right? Oh gosh, fire, farming, framing. There we go. And that's the founding king or sages in Chinese character as well. We regard them as the original cultural beginning. That's Huang. So pretty complicated, but use that like the beginning, the king of the king or the beginning of the king as the top level, the master of the remaining of us, right? And Chinese use that character together with this this ideal, this mode forming character to create the female phoenix. So there we go. And I try very hard to find a good representation of the phoenix, and you can see kind of like 5 different colors and looks very elaborate bird. And I forgot if phoenix actually spit fire, kind of like the dragons in Western culture, but phoenix is a mythical bird, is the ultimate king of the bird. And when the king wooing the queen, I guess, that create a thing that people have to create an expression for that and use that, the king of the bird on themselves. Just saying, I'm as if I'm a king of the, human. I'm the best kind of human, seek out the best kind of woman. And that's the courtship in Chinese expression. All right, cash into the currency of 15 by 1 word a day with Sophie. See you another day.